you have to avoid these 15 detailing mistakes that even pros still make. So what's up, guys? Welcome to another episode of Pan the Organizer. So today I'm sharing 15 of the most commonly made mistakes that even car detailing professionals do. And this is going to help you, whether you're a weekend warrior, a car detailing enthusiast, or a professional, take your detailing game to the next level. So a few years ago, I made a very popular top 20 car detailing mistakes to avoid when washing your car video, and that went viral, almost at 1 million views already. I'll leave that linked in the description if you want to check that out. So that was more kind of beginner tips to avoid making mistakes when you're washing the vehicle. But today we're doing a deeper dive, more on the either prosumer to professional level. So what kind of mistakes I often hear, either when I talk to pro detailers, my buddies on the internet, on YouTube, who have other car detailing channels, or if I go to detailing studios, detailing shops, so on and so forth, or when pros sometimes ask me for some advice. I've been detailing cars now for over 26 years at this point, so I love sharing my knowledge and passion, and I'm a firm believer that knowledge is gold. So it's important that you understand what you're doing, and that way you're more inclined to do a better job and to enjoy what you're doing. So let's quickly dive into this. By the way, if you guys are looking for any car detailing tools, equipment, products, and all that kind of stuff, I'll leave some links to awesome car care websites in the description under the video for you guys to check them out. And if you purchase by clicking the links, it helps to support the channel at no extra cost to you guys. Also, quick disclaimer, this is not a sponsored video. Nobody paid for this video. I'm just sharing my tips and tricks with you guys. So let's dive into it. The 15 mistakes that you absolutely must avoid that even detailing professionals do. So common mistake number 1, applying a wax on top of a ceramic coating, or applying a ceramic coating on top of an existing wax. So twofold, right? Let's first start with the first one. Applying a wax on top of a ceramic coating. Why is that a big no-no? In theory, can you apply a Carnauba wax on top of a coating? The answer is yes. However, why I recommend, or majority of the pros out there recommend that you do not do this, is because by applying the wax on top of the existing ceramic coating or graphene coating, you're masking the coating's superior properties. And eventually the coating will end up rejecting the wax anyways, because the chemistry is not super compatible, right? So what is recommended to maintain a ceramic coating is either an SiO2, also dubbed a ceramic spray, or a graphene spray. Both technologies are interchangeable, by the way. So that is recommended to apply because we all want to boost that gloss and that slickness of the ceramic coating, right? Every wash, every other wash, or every 2 months, whatever you guys prefer, but use compatible products. Now, the other issue is people who apply a ceramic coating, so the ones in glass vials, right, to what is dubbed as the true coatings, applying those on top of existing waxes or paint sealants. Now, that is a huge no-no, and the reason being, ceramic coatings and graphene coatings, the ones in glass bottles, once again, let's just generally call them coatings, they need to bond directly to a virgin clear coat without any interference from any previous protection, such as a wax or a paint sealant. Don't forget, coatings are multi-year semi-permanent forms of paint protection, and they need to have a solid bond with the clear coat, and the only way to do that is to go through all the steps and motions to prep the surface correctly, and that also includes not only chemical decon, mechanical decon as well, with a clay lube and a clay bar, clay mitt, or clay towel. The chemical decon, by the way, iron remover, tire remover, mineral deposit remover, all that kind of stuff. Then machine polishing steps if you need to remove any swirls or scratches. More on that in this video, by the way. And then an IPA wipe down to remove polishing oils and residue. And so all those steps are made to also ensure that you're stripping off any previous protection, and that way your coating will properly bond and you'll maximize the coating's performance and durability. Common mistake number 2 is overlayering your LSPs, or the last step protection, or also known as toppers, right? Quick detail sprays, a topper, whatever you guys add after your wash process to maintain your protection. By over applying those toppers, what you're creating is running into a potential issue with streaking, your potential issue of also smearing, and also, well, eventually masking the properties of the protection that's underneath if you're overstacking different toppers, right? Especially if you're going to different brands. I understand we've all been guilty of this at one point in our life. We always want to boost gloss and slickness, and so we're stacking and layering and stacking. So some people will apply 2 or 3 layers of a coating, then will apply the first topper and then move to another company's topper and then apply another topper, the protection on top of the protection for the protection. It just never ends. So you want to avoid all that. Probably find one quick drying aid or 2 that you like and stick to one of those for your regular washes. So pick one that you like and use that, and make sure it doesn't overmask the properties of the protection underneath. The easiest way to avoid all that, if you want to remove all the guesswork, is to take a topper that is compatible with the same brand of coating you are using. For example, if you have CarPro Seaquartz UK 3.0, CarPro now makes their Reload 2.0 topper, which is chemically compatible. It removes all the guesswork and it will not alter the properties of the coating underneath. It will either equal them or better them, right? G-Technic has the C2V3 topper for their CSL and Exo coatings. If we look at Geon, another good company, they have their Mose coating or their Synchro Kit, which is Mose with a top layer of skin. Well, they have the Geon spray that goes for that maintenance topper, which is called Cure. So basically every coating company has their own maintenance spray. So you can start by looking into that to make sure you have something compatible, or you can use universal toppers, but just don't overstack products. You're gonna run into oversaturating the layer with all those products. Again, you're gonna get those smearing, smudges, streaking potential, and you're never quite sure if there is some compatibility there. So be very careful by not overlayering your protection with like 15 different layers of different toppers, right? So third common mistake, not prepping the glass properly before applying a glass sealant or glass coating. So especially on the windshield, we all like the hydrophobic properties that a proper glass specific sealant or coating will provide, right? So when you're driving in inclement weather, especially when it's raining out there, as soon as you're in speeds of over 30 to 35 miles per hour, if you have a proper glass sealant or coating, the water beads up and is going to shed off the windshield at a very high rate, thus increasing the clarity and visibility when you're driving in inclement weather. I know I cannot drive without a glass coating on my windshield. I absolutely love it. Usually when you adopted one, you can't go without one. But the problem is for all those people who think that it's just washing the car, apply the coating, and boom, you're done. No, just like paint work when you're applying a ceramic coating on the paint, the same thing applies to glass. There are some prep steps that are very important. So you're going to wash your vehicle. Then you have to look at, are there any impurities? There is likely a lot of contamination embedded into the glass as well, because if you look at glass through a microscope, you're going to see that it's porous. So there's hills and valleys, just like the clear coat on your paint, and those accumulate dirt, grime, and impurities and contaminants over time. So you're going to want to do at least a clay stage. So just like paint, take your clay bar, clay lube, and rub the glass. You're going to see it's going to be glass smooth after that. If you feel those rough textures, that's because there's a lot of stuff that accumulates, especially in the pitting, right? Over the years, there's a lot of pits that naturally form on the windshield, and in those pits, well, you're going to get a lot of contaminants. So once you're done claying, you can then go to machine polishing. So if you have some very, very fine scratches, or you have a bit of grime potentially that is embedded in there that the clay bar will not remove, or if you have a previous protectant that you want to remove, you can use a cerium-based glass polish, or any paint polish will do, but it's just that glass polishes work better on glass, and use a glass polishing pad, typically made out of rayon. And don't worry, by the way of polishing glass, it is much, much harder compared to paintwork, so you won't do any damage, quite the opposite. So that's going to deeply, deeply remove all that contamination. The glass is going to be crystal clear, and then you're going to do an IPA wipe down. So either with a paint prep spray or an isopropyl alcohol mix. Same thing as you would do, right, with the paintwork before a coating. So that will remove any polishing oils or residue, and then you're ready to apply the glass sealant or the glass coating. That way, by doing all that prep, you're not only going to maximize the performance of the protection, but also its durability, so you can reach the maximum durability claim of the product that you are using. So trust me, always properly prep the surface before applying a glass protectant. Common issue number 4. So a lot of people often forget that during the chemical decon stages, so many people are using tar removers, right, to remove tar deposits, adhesives and glues and all that kind of stuff, iron removers to remove brake dust, iron fallout, and also rail dust. But a lot of people often forget the mineral deposit removers. So what those do is they remove the minerals out of the clear coat, thus preventing them from further etching through your clear coat. So we've all seen those water spots, right? Well, why do we have water spots on paintwork? That's because inside the water, there's a lot of minerals. When the water evaporates, it leaves behind those minerals, and if left unattended, especially if you don't wash your vehicle often, those minerals are acidic in content and will start etching and breaking through the clear coat, causing stains, potentially permanent damage if you don't address that quickly. So of course, regular car washing is how you help to prevent those water spots. But if you're working on a customer's vehicle, or if you have a neglected car that has water spots on there for a while, we're going to want to use a mineral deposit remover. A lot of brands have them now, and they're very easy to use. Always wash your car before you use the mineral deposit remover. You want to focus the chemical strength on the issue and not with the rest of the dirt that's on the vehicle. That's why we always wash the car first. And then you can use a mineral deposit remover, also known as an MDR, or a water spot remover. That works as well. So what you're doing basically with those chemicals is you're removing the minerals that are on there so they don't go through the clear coat anymore. Now, once you remove those minerals, if you still see the water spots on there, that means that the etching started to go through the clear coat. That's when you move on to machine polishing steps as well to further clarify and remove the staining that's left behind the minerals. So always remember to use mineral deposit removers. There are also some acidic shampoos. If I look at CarPro D-Scale now, so you can put that in your foam cannon or in a wash bucket, and the slightly more acidic pH, it's around pH 6, don't quote me on that, but it's around there. It's not like a pH 1. That's going to help to break down the minerals from water spots, and so that helps a lot. So either in a shampoo or in a spray form, look for mineral deposit removers. A common mistake number 5 is the improper care of your microfiber towels. A lot of people just assume you take the towels, you put them in your laundry with the rest of your stuff, put them in the washing machine, set it and forget it, and they're good to go. Absolutely not. First of all, I have a video on how to properly clean microfiber towels, so you can go ahead and watch that. By the way, any topic that you're looking for in my videos on YouTube, I have over 1,000 videos at this point. You can go in the YouTube search bar, type the topic, and just add Pan TheOrganizer at the end. For example, how to clean microfiber towels, Pan TheOrganizer. Put that in the YouTube search bar. Boom, you're going to find the videos. Quickly, how do you take care of your towels? First of all, separate your microfiber towels from the rest of the stuff that's in your house. Do not clean them with other types of fabrics. Microfibers stick with microfibers. So keep microfiber towels separate from all the rest. Yes, you can clean, by the way, your microfiber drying towels, your microfiber wash mitts, your microfiber towels, all those, put them together, and you're good to go. The only ones that I separate really in the microfiber world is anything that's super grimy and dirty. Example, microfibers used to clean wheels for some of you who do that, or to clean engine bays. Those I might separate from the rest. Or microfiber towels used to remove polishes, as those contain abrasives. I'll clean those separately. But in essence, all your microfibers clean separately from the rest of your fabrics. Don't combine that with your clothes in your house. Now, before we used to say only wash on cold heat, but actually if you use warm or hot water, that is fine for the microfibers. They've become more resistant over time. They have good blends now of polyester and polyamide. But the key thing is in the drying stage. In the dryer, do not use high heat. So use the lowest possible heat setting or no heat. So either that light tumble dry, or what I have on my machine, on my dryer, is the air dry feature at ambient temperature, or just put them on a rack and let them air dry. That's another way. You do not want to melt the fibers, because past a certain point, those fibers curl up, they melt, and they're not effective anymore. And that's when you're like, it doesn't seem like it's effective. It's not picking the dirt and grime and dust up anymore. That's because you probably melted them in your dryer. Also, do not use dryer sheets. Do not use any fabric softeners when you're washing. No bleaches, no dyes, ideally, no fabric softeners, as I said. Not ideally, never use fabric softeners, because those clog the fibers and they render the towels useless. So if you do all those tips, you'll be fine, and we'll give another one later on the proper care. Also, do not use powdered detergents. That's important as well because those tend to not dissolve as quickly or as well. And if you have any powdered detergent left in your fibers, they can potentially mar the paint if you're using them on paint. So use liquid detergents. My favorite, by the way, microfiber detergent currently is the PNS Rags to Riches. They developed that specifically for microfiber towels, and Dave, the chemist over at PNS, formulated that as well to remove kind of the toppers that we use, right? Stuff like Bead Maker or any other quick detail spray. A lot of those light protections, they tend to clog fibers over time, rendering the towels useless over multiple use. But if you use a proper detergent, that's going to help strip the towels of those light protections that we use to apply on our vehicles. So use a quality microfiber detergent if possible, or something like Tide Free, All Clear, all that kind of stuff is fine as well, as long as they don't have any fabric softener, no bleaches, no dyes, and ideally no scents as well, if you can, but that is it. Common mistake number 6, not claying before polishing. So if you are going to do some paint correction, whether it's a compound followed by a polish or just a polish step, whatever it is, as soon as you're polishing, before that, you should always do at least a clay stage. You want to remove the embedded contamination from your clear coat. So those impurities, don't forget, if we were to see them in a microscope, they're usually jagged edges. And if you were to leave them there, imagine a polishing pad turning at a very high speed, picking those contaminants up and causing further marring and scratching and swirls. So it's counterproductive. Always clay before polishing. I have a video, by the way, on that. You should check it out if you want to do a deeper dive in should you clay before polishing and should you clay after polishing. So common mistake number 7, not polishing after claying. Don't forget that a clay bar is an abrasive. So that material that you're using to remove the impurities, you're leaving some light marring on the paint. Now, is that truly a mistake? It depends. When you're done claying, look at your paint. If it looks okay to you, if there's no swirls, no scratches, there's no marring, there's no oxidation left, you can skip the machine polishing steps if you wish. But traditionally, if you're using a traditional clay bar, whether it's soft, medium, or strong, you're still probably going to do some marring at some point, but it's up to you to decide. So typically we do follow a clay stage by a machine polishing stage, just to make sure we're clarifying all of that out, removing any potential marring. Of course, you're increasing gloss when you're machine polishing as well, so that's a very good added benefit, but we don't want to over clay and we don't want to over polish. More on that again in this video. So it's up to you to decide. When you're done claying, look at the paint, take an inspection light or bring it outside in the sunlight, look at it. If you see some marring, if you still see some light scratches and swirls, you might want to look into machine polishing. If the paint looks good to you, you can skip polishing. Of course, that all depends on what you're doing next, right? If you're doing some paint protection, you still have a bit of maybe a previous coating there. To remove that, the only way is to use machine polishing. So you still would have to clay if you want to remove that type of protection. Common mistake number 8, well, claying too often. Don't forget, again, a clay bar is an abrasive. If you're claying too often, you're abrading that surface and you're going to cause crazy marring. Now, there has been an evolution in clay media, and we now have perforated synthetic decontamination towels and mitts that don't mar the surface if used correctly, if you know which ones to get, and if you know which lubrication also to use, because you have to use good lubrication along with it to avoid marring. I did a deep dive on that in a very popular video as well. It's called The Future of Claying. So search for that on YouTube. The Future of Claying is Here by Pan TheOrganizer, and you're going to hear all about it. There's some pretty cool innovations in there. Common mistake number 9, forgetting to degrease the interior portion of the windshield before cleaning it. Whoa, wait a second. If I'm using a glass cleaner, am I not degreasing and cleaning the surface? Not quite. So automotive glass cleaners, they're great. The majority of them should have no ammonia, right, to be tint safe. However, we call them more glass finishers in the industry because they clean glass to a certain extent, but they're not meant to remove all that grime, all that grease that accumulates, and certainly not the off-gassing. What is off-gassing? Well, all your materials, especially on newer vehicles, so all the vinyl, the leather, the rubber, the plastics, they have some off-gassing, and what happens is all the chemicals materials that are in there, they continue evaporating while those products and chemicals are curing, and they leave a film. I'm sure you've all seen that on new vehicles, especially if you drive at night and there's a bit of humidity. You're going to see kind of that foggy effect on the interior. Sometimes you might even see some lettering from the stickers that were on the windshield at the dealership and so on and so forth. That's because the interior of the windshield accumulated that off-gassing, and that film is creating kind of a mask or a veil that is very unpleasant once you see that. So the trick is to degrease the surface. To do so, it is very simple. Again, I have a full tutorial on that, how to clean the interior of your windshield. Basically, you're using dishwashing liquid. You can put that in warm water if you want to increase the cleaning properties, so you dilute that a bit. You're going to scrub that and clean your windshield. That's going to degrease the surface, and then when it's clean and dry, then you follow up with a glass cleaning microfiber towel and your favorite glass cleaner, and that's going to finish it off to a streak-free shine. So always degrease the interior of your windshields. Once you know what it looks like, it's going to look crystal clear. Thank me later. Common mistake number 10, using detailing brushes on the exterior. Wait a second, we've seen you use that in many videos, Pan. Correct, but it's how you do it that is important. So if you're not doing a pre-rinse or a pre-wash with a snow foam and you're just attacking your vehicle with those detailing brushes, well, guess what? There's still dirt on the surface, especially in the emblems and around your headlights, taillights, and the mirrors, wherever you're using those small detailing brushes for the nooks and crannies and the intricate areas. And what happens is you're grinding that dirt in and you're causing more marring and scratching. So what you at least need to do is at least a pre-rinse stage to remove the majority of the loose dirt and debris. I would ideally recommend that you guys use a snow foam. Once that has dwelled, rinse the snow foam off, and then you can either refoam your vehicle or use an APC or some kind of lubricant on the surface, and then you use your detailing brush to agitate. So by doing the rinsing and the pre-treat with the snow foam and rinsing all of that off, you're removing all that loose dirt, debris, that loose gunk and material that can potentially scratch up the paint before you go ahead and use your detailing brush. So you can use a soft detailing brush, just know that you have to do some prep steps beforehand. The common mistake number 11, not washing your microfiber towels before their first use. Now, I remember, I think it was in 2018, I did a cool series of 6 episodes with Levi Gates. He's one of the experts over at the Rag Company, one of the world's leading microfiber towels brand for car detailing. And we demystified everything about microfiber towels. And one question that often popped up that we answered in that series of videos is people often said they have some linting issues with some of their towels, or there's some fibers that are still in there. And usually the culprit is they don't clean their towels when they get them new. So what happens when you clean towels when you get them new? By doing that, you're removing any of the fibers that might still be there from the process over in the factory. Don't forget, those things are built in, are made, the microfiber towels, in some crazy factories, the majority of them in South Korea and in China. It doesn't really matter where you're getting them from as long as you're using quality yarn. The majority of the good towels are actually made in China and South Korea today. They have the world's leading technology, and the Rag Company has some of their manufacturing plants in both of those countries, and it's the quality of the yarn, the experts, the expertise used to do them, and of course the machinery as well. So in that factory setting, there's a lot of loose fibers, there's dust, there's a bunch of stuff that goes into the fabric itself, into the microfibers. And don't forget, microfibers are like little fingers. They're made to absorb stuff, so they're keeping all of that dirt and debris. And even though you think they're brand new, well, you still have to remove all that stuff before their first use, because you don't want to scratch the surface. And that's how you're also going to prevent linting, because there's a lot of those fibers that are there from the production or from the factory. So clean your towels before the first use. Also, another quick pro tip, often recommended, split your dark towels when they're new from your light towels and wash them separately for the first couple of washes, because there's often dye bleeding that happens. So imagine, and I'm sure you've all done the mistake out there, your black towels or your dark blue towels, and then you clean them with some light yellow or some baby blue towels, and then, oh my God, it changed the color and it bled through, and now your light colored towels have sort of dye stains. Well, that's because there's bleeding that can happen from the darker towels. So for the first couple of washes, 1 or 2 washes, keep the dark ones separate from the light towels. The common mistake number 12, using wax-infused shampoos or ceramic-infused shampoos before doing a paint correction or before applying a topper. So 2 separate topics here in the same mistake. First, let's talk about what are these wax-infused or ceramic-infused shampoos. Well, more and more now, are a lot of shampoos that contain what we call a two-in-one. So some people want to wash and protect at the same time. So there's a lot of shampoos or car soaps that you're going to see that are infused with either a wax, a sealant, or more and more now we're seeing ceramic infused soaps. So what those do is they leave a light layer of protection, nothing crazy, but when you're done washing your car and you dried it, it also left behind a small layer of protection that typically lasts 2 to 4 weeks. Don't expect anything crazy, but it's still just a slight booster. Now, the problem is if you're using those before paint correction, you're counterproductive because you're applying some protection before you're trying to strip the protection to get to the clear coat. So don't do that because you're adding a layer that you're going to want to remove, and then the polish has to fight through that top layer first before getting to the paint correction. It makes the correction less effective. So if you're planning on doing paint correction, do not use protection infused shampoos. Just use regular pH neutral soaps with nothing in them, or stripping shampoos that do not contain any waxes or sealants. Also, if you're planning on applying a topper at the end of your wash process, which the majority of the people do out there, don't, again, remember what we said at the beginning of the video, don't overstack your protection. Protection on top of protection on top of protection. It leads to smudges, it leads to smearing, and it leads to perhaps masking the protection that's underneath. So if you're planning on using a quick detail spray or a drying aid at the end of your wash process, just use a traditional soap with no protection in it. You're going to avoid issues with chemical compatibility and smudges and streaking and masking potentially the properties of what's underneath. So unless you're using a high quality soap that's infused with that protection, imagine you're using something cheap off the shelf and you're using that wax infused shampoo on top of your professional grade ceramic coating or a high quality coating, you're masking the properties of that coating. So believe me, just use something without any protection unless you know what you want and you're not applying either a drying aid or a topper at the end. Then you can use a ceramic infused shampoo on your ceramic coating if you want to. It saves some time for some people out there who have busy lives, so you can clean and add a bit of protection, so you kind of maintain the protection that's on there. Or if you have a wax, you use a waxed infused soap. If you want to do that 2-in-1, wash and protect, that is fine, but just don't overstack the protection. Again, think of that. Number 13, so another common issue, not wearing any gloves or any personal protection equipment known as PPE when you're detailing. It is very important. I see that way too often, even from seasoned professionals. I look at videos and sometimes I cringe. They go barehanded. I don't know if it's because of my background. For those who know, I studied in medicine, more specifically in molecular biology and biochemistry. And because of that background, I've always worn gloves. It is important to wear gloves because if it gets on your skin, it can get into your skin as well. And the chemicals that we use in the detailing world are often very harsh. So you want to prevent any future health risks. When we're 20 years old, we all think we're invincible, right? And then it's later on, decades later, that those issues accumulate and can have a tendency to pop up. So make sure you wear protection, guys. The bare minimum is some gloves. I wear nitrile gloves. They're more resistant than latex, but it depends. Some people have allergies to latex, or anyways, I just wear nitrile gloves. Those are my favorite. Try some and keep using them. Every time you're touching chemicals, wear some. If you're doing a ceramic coating, wear a mask, potentially also glasses, whatever you guys need. Work in an environment with proper ventilation. Take care of your health. Many guys have told me this as well. They were seeing us young bucks when we were in our late teens or early 20s, and those guys were 40 or 50, and they were all wearing those gloves, and we found it dorky, but you have to understand that, well, it's because they understood the older you get, the more you take care of your health. So if you can start off at a young age, as soon as you're starting your detailing business, or even if you're just an enthusiast, don't forget the chemicals we work with. Sometimes they're pretty harsh. So again, wear nitrile gloves or protective gloves and any other personal protection equipment that you might need to stay healthy and stay living for longer. Common mistake number 14, not prepping the paint correctly before applying a ceramic coating. My God, do I ever see that so often. People think that you just wash the car, you dry it, you slap the coating on, and boom, you have years of protection. No, it is quite the opposite. Before sealing that finish in with a ceramic coating, we're talking again, those true coatings and those glass vials, the ones that last for many, many years, those need to bond to a virgin clear coat. By virgin clear coat, we mean that a virgin clear coat free of any contamination or any previous protection. Now, if your car has a wax or a sealant on there, the only way to ensure 100% removal of any any previous protection is by machine polishing. So the bare minimum, you have to start by stripping the paint of any previous protection. How do you do that? You can use a stripping shampoo. Again, CarPro D-Scale, the Adam Strip Wash, Chemical Guys makes their Clean Slate. There's a bunch of brands out there that have stripping. There's McKee's 37 stripping shampoo, coating prep shampoo as well. So basically those start to break down the older waxes and sealants, but they don't still fully remove them. That's another mistake I often see. People think just a strip wash, boom, you're done, you're good to go. Nope. I had a video on that. How do you remove a ceramic coating? You're going to see it takes a lot more than that to remove, especially a coating. But even if a freshly applied wax or sealant, only machine polishing will ensure 100% removal. I can't say that enough. So of course, you're going to want to use a stripping shampoo to start the breaking down process of any previous protection. You're going to go through the chemical decon, right? Tar removers if you have any tar deposits, then an iron remover to remove brake dust. Even if you don't see it, it's probably still there. If you haven't used an iron remover in over 3 months, believe me, you probably have some brake dust, iron fallout, industrial fallout, or rail dust that is embedded in the clear coat. Remove that. Then you move on to the clay stage. So either a clay towel, clay mitt, clay bar, whatever you guys want. That removes the rest of the embedded contamination. Then you should have a squeaky clean paint. Then you move to machine polishing, which is going to remove oxidation, swirls, scratches, improve the gloss, improve the clarity, improve the pop of the paint. Then you do the IPA prep. That's another crucial step I see people forget. They finish polishing, they move directly to applying the ceramic coating. No, don't forget. Polishes have a lot of lubricants and oils in them to keep the surface lubricated when you're polishing. So you have to remove those polishing oils and residue before you apply the coating. And how you do that is with a paint prep spray, also known as an isopropyl alcohol. So basically an IPA solution, and that will help to break down those polishing oils and residue, wipe them off, and then you have a clear and virgin clear coat to work with. The coating is not only going to bond stronger and better, you're going to get a better overall performance, and the appearance of your vehicle, because you did all those prep steps before, will look a lot better. So why not do all that? If you're going to seal the finish for many, many years, do it once, do it right. Do the prep steps. I have a full tutorial on how to apply a ceramic coating or a graphene coating. The same steps apply. Check that out and thank me later once again. The last but not least, so common mistake number 15, assuming the paint has to be flawless before you apply a ceramic coating or a graphene coating. So that's another mistake. But Pan, you just said that we have to do all those prep steps, right? Correct. You have to do prep steps to ensure that the paint has no protection on it, but also it's free of any impurities so the coating can bond correctly. Now, if your vehicle has zero protection on it, no waxes, no sealants, and you'd know that by washing the car when you're rinsing it. If the water just lies in a flat pool of water, is very slow to sheet off, and there is zero water beading, that's a high likelihood and a visual indicator that there is no protection on your paint. So once you're done with all your decontamination steps and your wash steps, well, then you can apply the ceramic coating. Of course, I still recommend the IPA wipe before you do the coating, but then you can apply the coating without doing any polishing steps. Don't forget, when you're machine polishing, you're always removing a bit of that clear coat portion, not something crazy, but you're still removing a very thin layer of clear coat. That's the whole point of using abrasives. You're flattening the surface to have better light reflection and removing the imperfections and the defects. You would polish the paint if there is some protection on the surface left. So even if the paint looks good, if you know you have a wax, a sealant, or even worse, an old ceramic coating that needs to be removed, only machine polishing will remove that. So in that case, you would do all your wash steps, decontamination steps, but then you'd machine polish, of course, to remove the previous protection to ensure that, and then IPA wipe, and then you apply your coating. However, once again, if you are sure there is no protection on your paint, once you're done with the initial washing, the decon steps, and the paint looks good to you, and you're sure that there's no protection on there, you can just end it there, do the IPA wipe, and apply the coating. A coating doesn't care what the paint looks like, right? It can have swirls and scratches, and you could still apply a coating on top if you want to, as long as there's no previous protection left behind. The coating is still going to bond to that paint. It's just it's not going to look great, and don't forget, coatings have a tendency to amplify the finish that's underneath. So the reason why we usually do a paint correction also before is because we know we're sealing that in for many, many years to come. You obviously want the paint to look the best for you, but it depends on your budget. If you're inquiring about a detailing service with a detailing professional, it depends on your level of budget and your desired level of paint finish as well. Some people just don't care how the paint looks. They just want to protect it for later. Well, if the paint is fully decontaminated and there's no protection on there, you don't have to polish. You can apply the ceramic coating. However, if you want your paint to be improved, if you want that gloss, if you want all the defects removed, well, you're going to polish. Or again, if you have the protection that's on your paint and you want to fully strip it off, only machine polishing will remove that. So it's a yes and no question. Do you always have to polish before applying a coating? No, it depends on the situations we just spoke about. So guys, share this video with any family and friends or any detailing professional that you think might benefit from this. Thanks to you guys, we made this channel one of the biggest car detailing channels on YouTube. At the moment of recording this, we are currently in November 2023. We're almost at 1 million subscribers. We surpassed 125 million views, and I have you to thank for that. So again, share the videos, smash the thumbs up button. That really shows me your support. Any products, tools, or equipment that you're looking for, check the links in the description. And in the meantime, don't forget, keep it tight, keep it clean, and I'll see you on the next one.